Hi there, my name is Jenny, and this is a class that I'm calling Portal to the Light. Today is spring equinox, a very exciting day, and what that means is that there's a balance today, equal parts of light and dark. And after today, the days start getting longer. And so we're moving into the light, right? From the darkness of winter into the full spectrum of light when we get to summer solstice um, in June. And so it's like a very potent day. And there's some very potent energy in spring. And I wanted to share some thoughts about that energy and to share some practices for how I work with the energy. Because for me, the springtime energy is it's kind of like, it's very push and pull. It's very sticky, right? So there's this excitement and there's this like relief, this hope, this beauty that's emerging, right? Like winter is over, the dark, cold days are over, and now, we're moving into the brighter part of the year. And it's still below freezing on some nights and in like the 60s during the day, right? So even the weather is doing this like, well, maybe I'm ready. Oh, no, no, I'm not ready, right? And this is how I feel like, okay, I'm ready. Like, let's go. Let's get things fired up. Then I'm like, wait, I'm not done hibernating, right? There's still more I want to do in the quiet and the peace. And for me, it comes with this feeling of like grief almost. I think for some people, it presents as maybe anger and frustration of like, oh, the energy is pulling me in a certain way and I'm not ready to go that way yet. And like, there's this like, really like revved up kind of vibe in the air. And for me, it's a little bit of grief. So I do feel like this sense of grief, even while being so excited. And then the other thing that happens to me in the springtime is this sense of already feeling behind. And the energy is starting to pick up. Things are moving more quickly, right? Like astrologically, it's the new year, it's eclipse season. Like things are kind of like chaotic and flying around. I haven't started any seeds yet for the garden. Like there's just kind of like this like rude awakening that there's like this timeline and I put all this pressure on myself and so I've been working with trying to balance that all of these emotions that are coming up, right? Like honoring them, sitting with them, realizing that they're part of like life and kind of figuring out the best way to support myself as I move into these energies. And there's so many things to do. Like the plants are here to support us through this time too. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm thinking a lot about how nature has so, like, we can learn so much from nature. I mean, first of all, we are a part of nature, we're not separate from nature. But as I'm here watching the plants coming alive, working with the seeds to plant in the garden, I'm just like, whoa. There's so many things. Like, what I have been thinking about so much lately is that the tiniest, tiniest, tiniest little seed. Okay, so a poppy seed is a very, very small seed. And within that seed are the instructions for that seed to become a poppy. Like from this tiny, tiny little seed that you can barely see, there's the instructions of poking your head out, what color green, the fringy leaves coming off, the bud at the top drooping over, filling itself with the flower, and then, finally opening into its full expression. Like it just blows my mind that all of that information is encoded in that tiny little seed. Every seed. Like they're all different and they're all just like, they know exactly what to do somehow. And like a poppy seed will produce a poppy every time. It's not going to grow a sunflower. There's like a completely different blueprint and technology in a totally different seed that to become a sunflower than a poppy. And so I think about this a lot and relate it to the life that I'm living, right? And what I believe. So what I believe is that my soul chose this physical vessel, this body to come into, incarnate into in this lifetime, right? And before my soul arrived here, Earthside, it sat down with other souls, right, and came up with the curriculum of what I could, if I choose to, learn in this lifetime, what experience to have, what lessons to learn. And through it all, the intention is to become my highest self, to become the fullest expression of that soul, of that seed, right? To become the most beautiful blooming poppy that I can become. And as my soul came into this body, it immediately forgot all of that through the birth process, right? And coming alive, right? So I came into this world with this set of instructions, with this whole curriculum, and then immediately forgot it. And to me, the definition of healing is remembering that and working towards becoming my highest self, right? So, what do I need to strip away in order to connect back with that? So, like the analogy here, right, is that the seed comes with the instructions. Your soul comes with the instructions. You just have to remember what they are, right? But like, we're here to reach this fullest potential if we want to, right? Like it's a choice and we have free will and you can choose to do whatever you want, right? But for me, it's like, how can I, like the seed, know these instructions, right? Because a poppy is like, yo, I'm here to be a poppy and that's it. But I'm going to be the best poppy that I can be. A poppy is not comparing itself to any other flower and saying, oh, I really wish I was more like that dahlia over there. Oh, wow, what's dandelion? Oh, wow, yeah, lavender. Ooh, looking good lavender. I want to be more like you. No, poppy is like, this is what I'm here to do. Let me do it. Look at me and how glorious I am doing exactly what I came here to do. Like, I just feel like, wow, it's so simple and also so challenging, right? Because we come and we have all of these different programs, different societal conditionings, you know, blah, 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 all the stuff that we're kind of told by our families, our friends, society, all of it about what to do here on the earth. And so for me, my healing journey has been like peeling back all of that so I can remember who I truly am and connect with my highest self. And something that I think is important to remember that I have to remind myself of all the time is that it's not easy. Like, okay, so spring, the energy is abundance, fertility, and rebirth and renewal. And it's not like really overnight process. So the little seed is down in the dark soil, right? Like in the like comfort and darkness and just kind of like marinating down there and doing its thing. And then finally getting brave enough to like poke a little head up, poke a little leaf up and see what's happening, right? And it's like, whoa, like it's a whole new world from beneath the soil to above the soil, right? And so it's like a little bit startling to like poke your head out and like show up in a way that, even though it's the way this seed is meant to show up, it doesn't mean that it's easy, right? And it doesn't mean that it's going to be like, okay, one day I'm in the soil and the next day I'm a full on poppy. There's like a whole process that it needs to go through. And I think that as part of that, especially in the springtime, what I see, right, is like the pink magnolia buds on the tree. Like it's bare, 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 this gray background with these fuzzy little pods. And then the pink starts to poke out. And then there's a frost. And then it snows. And so these little buds are showing up so bravely, so boldly, not knowing what's going to happen. And then it gets really cold. And so I feel like this, and they have to contract back a little bit. And then they'll come the next day and expand back out, right? So it's this like contraction and expansion, contraction and expansion. And I believe that through that process, it makes the flower stronger. It makes the leaf stronger. It makes the stem stronger. It makes us stronger, right? So poke your head out. It didn't really work. Oh, maybe it did work. Like it's just kind of this like back and forth, and remembering that it's not like an overnight process and you're in full bloom, right? It takes some time, and it takes some courage, and it takes some persistence, and it's beautiful. Like the whole process is beautiful, watching this nature come alive, watching myself come alive, watching my friends and family come alive. Like it's a really beautiful thing to witness. And one of the practices that I have been doing to kind of support this energy is being more aware on my walks every day with the dogs. I have to go out every single morning with the dogs, which is perfect because I want to go out every single morning, but I might not do it if I didn't have the dogs. And so now we go and visit the daffodils, we go and visit the nettles, like go to the herbal patch and see who's coming up. And this is a really nice way to connect with this emerging rebirth energy just by walking outside and taking note of what's coming alive. Visiting it one day, visiting it the next day, seeing what's happened, visiting it after the frost, when it's really sunny out, and just kind of like taking note of how things are coming alive around you. And I feel like that kind of inspires some like energy within me of around this like coming alive and emerging as well. Another practice that I have been, I'll be honest, I've been thinking about doing it. I haven't done it yet. But what I will do is grounding and earthing, right? So going outside, putting my feet on the earth, bare feet on the earth. It's still a little cold for me, but putting my bare feet on the earth is nice. And what another practice that I like to do similar to this is just laying down on the grass with all my clothes on, right? All my jacket and everything staying warm and bundled, and just feeling that support of Mother Earth and just breathing there. And what you can do as well to connect with the energy of Mother Earth, like you can just do this, lay down, put your feet on the earth, whichever, and like think about whatever and not really focus on it. But I think that if you have intention behind it and you really want to and have the desire to connect to Mother Earth and, have some kind of like conversation with Mother Earth, is one thing I learned in my energy school that I go to, is this thing called saying hello, right? So put your feet on the earth, lay your body on the earth, and then just send out an energetic hello to Mother Earth. And then wait, be quiet, and listen until you get that hello back. Mother Earth wants to connect to you, right? Like all of nature wants to be seen by you. They see you, they want you to see them. And so ask for that hello back. Sometimes it'll come right away. Sometimes it might take a minute. So just give it space, open up to it, create the opportunity, right? And like just sit in quiet for a minute and listen and see kind of what you get back. How Mother Earth sounds to you, how Mother Earth feels to you. Like, what is it? What is that support, right? Like, how is that relationship developing? Um, yeah, that's a beautiful thing to do this time of year where there's still, like I said, this space and quiet. Like, it's a beautiful thing to do any time of year. But I feel like as Mother Nature's coming alive, and again, like we're part of nature, so how can we kind of tune into exactly what's happening outside of us? The thing I really like to do, I lay on my back at first, but like laying with my belly on the earth and my face on the earth, right? Like full prostration, like here I am, mother, this is my favorite thing to do because and it's a little more vulnerable. It's a little more intense, at least for me, right? Because on your back, you can feel the support and it's beautiful, but like full on heart to the earth, belly to the earth, face to the earth, just like it's very, um, very, very nourishing and super, super like juicy. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, trying some of those energetic practices might be nice. Yeah, and see what calls to you, right? Or come up with your own thing of how you're going to connect with nature. You might like make friends with one specific plant that you go spend time with, or a tree that's coming to life, right? Just like figure out your own way to make those connections with nature. There's like no right or wrong way to do it. I mean, the wrong way is if you were going to be extractive, right? But here we're just kind of like saying hello and waiting to get that hello back and building that connection. Another energetic practice that's also a physical practice, and the one that I am always very reluctant to do, is spring cleaning. Like, I don't like cleaning. It's not my favorite thing to do. But for actually a month or so now, I've been kind of feeling this like call to clean the cottage. Right? Like I have my piles of books, piles of paperwork, and with this clutter and with this stuff, it's not just the physical space that gets kind of clogged and cluttered. It's also the energetic space. And as spring is a time of rebirth and renewal and calling in new things and setting intentions, I have been going through the process of going through every article of clothing, going through every piece of paper, every book. I'm not done yet. And I can already feel the difference. And Ariel is doing it with me, my partner, and he just keeps saying, "Wow, Jenny, this feels so good." And even though it takes a lot of time and it is an effort, I feel like it just feels so important this time of year. The autumn is another good time. I mean, anytime is a good time, I guess, but it's called spring cleaning for a reason. So back in the day, when people would heat their homes with like a wood stove and the windows had to be closed all winter, as soon as spring came, they could open the windows, let out all the dust and all of the kind of like soot that gathered, right? And like really cleanse the air. So, spring cleaning, it is good to have the windows open. I'll also, when we finally finish, there'll be a number of things that can leave the space. We'll donate or throw away or recycle, right? Like bags and bags and bags of stuff. And it will prepare both the space and me energetically to receive what's wanting to come in, right? It's also, again, in nature, if you clear something, right, and you pull out all the weeds and create a clean plot or space of soil, you need to intentionally plant something there or the weeds are going to come back, right? So when you have a clear space, what are you calling into that space? What are you planting in that space, right? Like intentionally fill it with what you want. Like I feel something wanting to come in, something big is coming through, and I'm like, oh, I better clean my house, right? So we're going through that process of, making space for something new and clearing the clutter. And also clearing the clutter like visually helps me. Like right now, it's chaos over there because we're in the middle of all of this and there's boxes and bags and everything is everywhere. And it's just like I can't even think, right? So once it's all cleared out, there's just like a lot more space to do different things and to have more space for creativity is the way that I really look at it. Wanted to read this quote from the Nei Ching, which is the oldest medical book in the world from Chinese medicine. And what it says about spring is so beautiful. The 3 months of spring are the period of commencement. Heaven and earth are born, and all living things are flourishing. Get up early in the morning, walk in the courtyard, loosen your hair, and relax your body. By doing so, you will generate mental strength and act in harmony with the key of spring, thus following the way of nourishing life. So I feel like with that, we can learn so much, right? And walking outside in the morning, especially in this like loose, relaxed way, just sounds so good. And it's aligning us with the longer days, right? So getting out into the sunshine or whatever is happening, even if the sun isn't totally shining, just getting out in the morning will really help attune to this energy of spring and this energy of nourishing and flourishing. And that sounds really good to me. The other thing with moving from winter into spring, it's a period of stagnancy in winter typically, right? So you're not as active, it's cold, you're like a little bit contracted, right? And so for me, at least, I'm eating heavier foods, I'm doing less movement. And so getting things kind of geared up again and bringing more movement into my daily life, getting my heart rate up a little bit and taking longer walks with the dogs. And also, I like to do the practice, and I've kind of gotten off of it, and I'm going to reintroduce it because you want to help support some detoxification of all of those kind of heavy winter, like physical things and energetic things. And so, physically, in order to support this detoxification as we kind of come alive, I have started doing tongue scraping, oil pulling, and also going back to a practice of dry brushing before I take a shower. This all kind of helps stimulate the lymph and help us with like detoxifying and moving things out, right? Like getting the kidney and liver like really pop in and like able to process and like prepare the body, it feels like, for this fresher energy. So there's this like kind of like support I want to do for my physical body as I'm like making this transition, walking through this portal. Um, so those are some physical things that you can do. And of course, the plants are here to support us. And it's still early for the plants to be out and about and really fresh. Like the nettle is starting to come, the plantain is coming, like and some of the flowers are coming, but it's too soon, at least where I am up in the mountains, to start foraging or harvesting anything. But I want this video and this class to be able to support you through the whole springtime. And so some of the plants, I want to talk to you about some of the plants that will be coming and that will be able to support you, and also what you can do in the meantime while you're waiting for the fresh plants to come. You can still kind of like get the support of those plants. The two herbal practices that I want to share with you are making an herbal infused vinegar and making herbal infusions. Let's start with the herbal infusions. These are made with dried plant material all the time. So even if you have fresh plants, you can work with them and drink them, especially cleavers. Cleavers is a really beautiful thing to do what's called a cold infusion, where you take the fresh cleavers and you let them sit in water for a few hours before straining the cleavers and drinking the water. Cleavers are a beautiful plant to help with detoxification and moving things out of the system. And so to make a herbal infusion, you can use dried cleavers. A few of the herbs that I'm highlighting for this time of the year are cleavers, red clover, which should be coming soon, oat straw. I think oat straw might be my favorite. And then, of course, nettle. Nettle is starting to peep its little stingy head out. And this is so beneficial, so full of vitamins and minerals. Nettle, like, don't sleep on nettle. For me, nettle is a little bit drying. So whenever I'm working with nettle, I'm also pulling in some oat straw, which is so nourishing for the nervous system. It can rebuild your nervous system, right? So if you're having some kind of burnout or adrenal fatigue, like oat straw is going to use consistently is going to really help you gently and strongly support like rebuilding and kind of like putting things back together. It's a really beautiful plant. And clover is another detoxifying herb. With any of these or any kind of medical any herbal stuff, it's not, this is not medical advice. Do your own research or reach out to me if you have questions. I'm happy to help. And so what you do to make an herbal infusion is you weigh out 1 ounce of your dried herb, pour it into an empty mason jar, fill the mason jar over the dried herb, fill it with just off of boiling. So boil your water, let it sit for a minute, pour it over, fill it up all the way to the top, let it sit for a minute because the dried herbs are going to soak up the water and it's going to go down a little bit. So fill it all the way to the top, cover it like with your little mason jar lid, and then you let it sit at least 8 hours, at least 6 hours. I like to let it sit 24 hours is like primo time to let it sit. And what is going to happen is that water is going to get so infused, right? Like this is like so much more beneficial than just drinking tea, right? Because tea, you're just using a little bit of plant and you're only steeping it for a little while. This, you're using a whole ounce and you're saturating it and letting it sit. And like the water is taking all of these vitamins, all of these minerals, all of these nutrients, and then you drink them. I like to drink them in the morning. I'm trying to get off coffee for like the fifth or sixth time. I love coffee so much. But when I am consistent with making 1 or 2 of these every night and just using them in the morning and throughout the day too. And if it's too strong, you can mix it with water, you can mix it with tea. It's just a really like, when I first became an herbalist, this is like one of the first things that you learn and you're like, wait, all the herbalists are drinking this? Like, why didn't anyone tell me? So it's a real, like, powerful way to get some real plant support in, like, a really incredible, potent way. It's really good. And then this is an infusion that I made the other day that's ready to strain out. So you can see, right, like it turns the water really dark, a really dark color. So I'll drink that today. And then the other thing you can make that will help during this time of year is an infused vinegar. So we want to get our digestion going, right? And help our like digestive system wake up and kind of like start to process things a little more efficiently. And apple cider vinegar is really good at supporting with that. So I made this a couple of weeks ago and it's with dried herbs. It's mugwort and tulsi. And I'm going to strain it today and start drinking it. And the vinegars are really nice to make with fresh herbs too. So there's a handout that comes with all of this, and like I'll put links to where I have videos showing you how to make these in more detail. Um, but the apple cider vinegar in and of itself helps support digestion. When you add in the herbs, like next level, next level, next level. So you can take this straight if you don't mind the taste of it. I like to dilute it in a little bit of water, and it's nice to drink first thing in the morning or before meals. It's like gonna give you that bitters kind of like sensation and really get your digestive juices flowing to kind of again support this like movement, increased movement, and kind of like coming back to life and like getting rid of the stagnation. So the vinegars are like really nice to also work with. And finally, I wanted to share some cosmic mother offerings that can help support you through this kind of portal to the light, through this transition period. And I have this new little travel pouch called Transitions, and it comes with 3 supportive allies. And this like I have a bunch of different little pouches that my mom made that you can put little sample sizes in. And so this comes with a tincture that's called Heal Your Heart, which is full of nourishing herbs to kind of help with any grief and heartache that might be coming up during this time. And then it also comes with this new flower essence blend that I made specifically for this time of year. And for any transition, really, anytime you're kind of walking through a portal into something new, there's going to be some resistance. There's going to be some need for support in helping you get unstuck, helping you see things with new eyes, helping you find hope and clarity and kind of like believe in the miracle, right? And so this beauty is like all of that and more. And then it also comes with an uplifting body oil. And I haven't talked much about body oils, and I don't know why. Like, I'm going to make a video specifically about the benefits of herbal body oiling and oiling your body. It's this ancient technique that's been done throughout the world. And just to give you a quick highlight of the benefits, what's happening as you're rubbing this oil onto your skin, the fat of the oil is like sinking in and supporting your nervous system, like literally touching your nerves as it's going through the layers of skin to your nerves, and it's giving them this sense of support, of relief, of nourishment, of like really, really powerful, beautiful support. So herbal body oiling. So these 3 things come in this little couch, and they also come in full sizes too. If you wanted to work with one of them on its own, I have beautiful 4-ounce bottles of the herbal oils, 2-ounce tinctures or 1-ounce tinctures. I'm also wanting to highlight the Soothe Your Soul tincture for this time of year too. I mean, any of the tinctures, right? So I have Heal Your Heart, Soothe Your Soul, Shine Your Light, and Rest Your Head. I've been having some trouble sleeping and falling asleep the past like week or so, and so I've been relying on the Rest Your Head. So depending on where you're at with the energies of this time, there's definitely a tincture that will help you out. So if you're feeling a little anxious, like I was talking about earlier, the Soothe Your Soul is going to help you work with that, those feelings and those emotions. And then we also have a couple of other flower essences that are beautiful for this time of year, especially, since they're coming into bloom, right? So daffodil is a flower essence when you're just ready to be like, yep, I'm here, let's go, let's party. It's called Let's Get the Party Started. Daffodil is going to be the one who helps you bring that sunshine, bring that brightness, and just kind of like go all in, right? And support you in doing that. And then cherry blossom. Cherry blossom, like what a special, special, special ally. And the cherry blossom flower essence helps us reconnect to awe and wonder and delight in the world. It's kind of like bringing you back to when you're a little kid and just this like, wow, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. And everything is a miracle, right? It helps bring in that sense of just like wonder and awe of this life that we're living. And then finally, to help with this detoxification process that I was talking about, right? Like the dry skin brushing. But also, I have a sugar scrub that I use in the shower that's made with 3 ingredients: sugar, an herbal oil, and coconut oil. And so these 3 things together, I blend and whip up, and I'm going to show you in this little sample what it's like. It's different than salt scrub. You could also totally use a salt scrub now, just kind of something to exfoliate the skin, which will not only help slough off dead layers of skin and dead cells, it will also kind of bring more energy into the body. So this sugar scrub, it's like a little gentler than working with a salt scrub. To me, a salt scrub is a little bit harsher, but the granules of sugar are more gentle and less like. And because it's blended with coconut oil, once you use it in the shower and rinse off, you still have kind of like the moisture from the coconut oil. So you don't have to moisturize afterwards. Like it's kind of amazing. And so I've been using this really regularly in the shower. And so all of these are available on the website. I would love if they could support you and make their way out into the world. And I hope that this was helpful. Oh, and then the last thing to say is that I'm offering Reiki training, Reiki 1 training and retreat in April. So April 26th to the 28th, if you want to come and stay in the farmhouse and make a retreat out of it. The training will be on Saturday and Sunday of that weekend. We'll go through the history of Reiki. Reiki 1 and the lineage that I come from includes 4 attunements. So we'll do 2 attunements one day, 2 attunements the next day. We'll have lunch. If you come for the whole weekend, you'll also get supportive yoga classes, all of the meals included, journaling prompts, and lots of time to practice on each other, to give yourself Reiki. Reiki 1 is really, when I look back on my journey with Reiki, it was like, okay, I'll take Reiki 1. I don't really know why, but I'll take it because it was recommended to me. And I was talking to someone else recently who had the same experience. Like, okay, I'll take it. And then I feel like it kind of just like opened up and continues to open up so much. So if you want to be a Reiki practitioner, obviously you need to start with the Reiki 1 training. But if you just want to offer Reiki to yourself, if you want to just use it as something that kind of like helps you walk on this kind of path, like to help you, I don't know the best way to say it. It kind of like amplifies or opens, it expands something. It expands something. That's what it is. Like being attuned to the Reiki expands something that opens up possibilities should you want to like choose different directions within that. I feel like that's what it did for me. And so I love so much to train other people and attune them in Reiki. So if you have questions about that, let me know. You can sign up on the website. Again, all of the product offerings are on the website too. And if you have any questions at all, please reach out and let me know. Thank you so much for listening and watching and signing up for this class. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any feedback, I would love to hear it. And happy spring.